So, the tabletop simulator mod for Arthurian Legends is coming soon. It will be October 17th, just in 3 days, I believe. So I figured, well, let's go ahead and talk about Constructed some. I wanted to actually go over a few of the decks I've been working on and building and testing online and in person at my store at Games Ahoy. And I wanted to start with something kind of spicy here. This one's called The Most Hated, because I truly believe it is the most hated deck to play against. It's been the most hated deck from my experience since pre-alpha. A lot of people just don't play it because it kind of drives customers away. It drives players away. Especially, I've seen it in store and online. People just not come back, not want to play the game because of this combo. So I was a little hesitant to make a new deck for it, but I figured let's go ahead and see what it's like, see how powerful it can be, and then also what we can do to fight against it. So this deck is Fire, Air, and Earth, and I am using Archimego for this deck because he can reuse some of the magic that we need to keep the combo going. And if you're not familiar with the combo is this: Crave Golem and Candlemas Monks. So because the Candlemas Monks have a death right that says proceed to the end phase, and because Crave Golem has a trigger that occurs on each player's turn that allows it to attack a random minion within its range of motion, well, it gets to attack Candlemas Monks on your opponent's turn, preceding their turn to the end phase, essentially skipping their turn. Now, if they have Angel's Egg or Devil's Egg out, those triggers will still occur. Anything at the end of turn, Wildfire, things like that, they will still occur. But for the most part, they skip their turn. They skip their draw step. They don't get to play spells. They don't get to play sights. So it's pretty annoying. I remember there was a guy I played against last year. I don't know when it was exactly, right after beta had come out, or maybe before. I'm not sure. But he had a Mother Nature out, and he was very upset that his Mother Nature trigger goes into the timeline first, and so resolves last. So my Crave Golem and Candlemas Monks combo, that trigger would go into the timeline last, and so it would resolve first, canceling his, and then proceeding his turn to the end phase, canceling his Mother Nature trigger to get out a minion. He thought that was very dumb. He thought that was very annoying. And so I never saw him again. I never saw him come back to the game or to the Discord. And I felt really bad. I didn't play the deck for actually a really, really long time after that. I may have played it once in my store after that. I'm not sure. I don't think I did. I know Kyle, Scourge Altars Kyle, if you're familiar with him, he brought a Death Speaker build to my store, and he played it there a couple times. And I remember there was a guy that he played against that we didn't see again afterward, if I remember correctly. So I was a little hesitant to build the deck, but I thought, man, let's go ahead and build it. Let's see how powerful it can be, and then what ways we can fight against it. So here it is. The one thing that we got from Arthurian Legends that helps the deck, the big important thing, is Rescue. Rescue is ordinary magic. It says return a minion from your cemetery to your hand. So this is really good because Common Sense will get it. And in Archimego, you can recast, because Archimego allows you to recast magic from your cemetery. Once you get one Rescue in your cemetery, then you can just recast it again to grab your Candlemas Monks out of your cemetery and then play it out. I know also recently people have been talking about using Dame Britomart to bring back Candlemas Monks from your cemetery. I think it's a little clunky. I think Dame is 5 mana and also makes you play with water. And I don't really want to play with water in this deck. The reason being is because we have to play with fire. If we don't play with fire, or I keep saying we, like everyone needs to play this deck. Don't play this deck. But I want to show it to people so they know it's out there. Castles Ablaze is very important in this deck because of a site that Eric Scuriosa decided to print called Bower of Bliss. And let's go ahead and take a look at Bower of Bliss here. So Bower of Bliss says mortals in the realm become beasts and are silenced. I mean, you make a Knights deck with a bunch of mortals, and then you print a site like this that completely nerfs all of the knights, and all mortals in the process. So the problem here, obviously, is Candlemas Monks. They are mortals. So Bower of Bliss completely shuts down Candlemas Monks. Candlemas Monks can't do anything. So playing with Castles Ablaze, very important. Another reason why I was testing a game just yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. I really wanted to play Raised Dead on my opponent's Grandmaster Wizards or Death Dealer or whatever. But I couldn't because they had the new Tump side out, Wormelo Tump. Opponents can't affect cards in your cemetery. So that's a good hate card against this combo. Not against the combo, actually, just against the deck, because this deck will run any like 2 to 3 Raised Deads, and we'll go check out Raised Dead here. Raised Dead says summon a random dead minion. So that's sometimes during the game, during the process of the game, the early game especially, like you just don't have Candlemas Monks, and you want to play Raised Dead so that you can get something going, you know, like get their Grandmaster Wizard. Like I said earlier, maybe even grab, you know, maybe you played your Highland Princess and you want to bring that back. Maybe you want to bring back your own Grandmaster Wizard. So anyway, Raised Dead is good in the deck, but like I said, sometimes you want to play it against your opponent's minions, and the Wormelo Tump gets in the way of you doing that. So Castles Ablaze can help against that. It can take out the Bower of Bliss. It can take out Geistwood, any of the sites, unique elite sites that are really good in the format. But like I said, most importantly, it's for Bower of Bliss because it just completely shuts the deck down. So if we want to go over the artifacts here, Amethyst Core, I like Amethyst Core here in the deck because it allows us to play our Highland Princess early. It also enables Arcane Barrage earlier, and it enables Merlin's Tower earlier. Browse is also very important. You can see here there are 3 effects that require 3 air threshold. The Merlin's Tower, Browse, and Arcane Barrage. And then Feast for Crows also requiring 2 air early on. I'd love to play Feast of Crows before my opponent plays Feast of Crows. If your opponent suspects that you're playing a combo, they can Feast for Crows and name Candlemas Monks, and then that's game over for the combo. So if you do suspect your opponent playing Feast of Crows, if you see air, honestly, and it's not an aggro air, or honestly, even if it is an aggro air, you need to be concerned about Feast for Crows. It's just a thing. So I mean, if you're gonna play it early, you might as well just name Feast for Crows with Feast for Crows. And then you can also banish and recast Feast for Crows for something else later, but the most important thing is to get theirs out of their deck. Okay, so Cathera Mechanism, very important for this deck because it lets you control random outcomes, and Crave Golem is a trigger that allows him to attack a random minion within his range of motion. Sometimes your opponent will just have stuff in the way, or maybe you have stuff in the way, or maybe you have another Crave Golem out, who knows. You want your Golem to hit Candlemas Monks, so Cathera Mechanism is very important for the combo. You can do it without it. It's just not as reliable because there could be other minions in the way. Another thing that Cathera Mechanism helps with is the Raised Deads, because Raised Dead says summon a random dead minion. Quick note, it does not require you to summon it in any specific place. You could literally summon the minion in the void, underground, underwater, on your opponent's head. You can summon the minion anywhere. There's no restriction. So summon a random dead minion, just like Plague of Frogs, you can put them anywhere. But yes, Cathera Mechanism, very important. Let you control those random effects. It's also good in the mirror match if somebody else is playing the Monks combo. You would just need to play yours last. Whoever plays their Cathera Mechanism last controls the random effects. So moving on, Onyx Core, very important also. We have 3 element spells here for Earth, 3 Earth spells. So Tithe is really cool. Very, very, very good in the deck because you really want to just be drawing as many spells as you can. But you also, you need to be able to play out your sites to get to Poison Nova. So Tithe helps you get those sites early so you can keep drawing spells. if you do get it early, it's nice. So Tide is good. It's 1 mana. Pendragon Legacy here, I just wanted to point out, the only reason it's in here is just as a cantrip. It's a 1 mana cantrip, 1 mana draw card. But yeah, so Onyx Core, very important for your Earth spells there. Philosopher's Stone, obvious, we're playing in 3 elements. We need to be able to get discounts, especially when we're banishing things from the cemetery and trying to play from hand at the same time. Ring of Morrigan. This artifact, easily the chase card of the set. It's broken. It's on auto include in every deck. I can't think of a single deck that doesn't want this card. I think it should be going for more than 4 Waters of Paradise personally, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, this is just an auto include. I mean, a lot of times it will just gain more life than Angel's Egg, depending on the deck. And then on top of that, it also deals damage. You can ping your own minions to gain life. You can finish an avatar in Death's Door with Ring of Morrigan. It's just, I don't know, very strong. It's going to be everywhere. So that's an auto include here. Highland Princess helps us to get it. Also, if you don't want to grab Cut Your Mechanism because you're playing against aggro, you just want to get Ring of Morrigan so you can get your life total up or keep it up. Yeah, Highland Princess is good for that. So Ring is good. Ruby Core, another one, like we don't have a whole lot of fire in the deck, so we don't play a ton of fire producing sites. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's not a lot for 30 sites, but we do have 2 Annual Fairs, which is an all-star in every 3-color deck. I think Annual Fair should be an auto-include if you're playing 3 colors. Maybe, I don't know, I wouldn't auto-include it in 2-color. Maybe it's worth 1 if you're playing with a lot of 3 threshold spells. Because it's so good because you can pay 1 mana to add a threshold, and you can do that any number of times. So I remember the other day I played a Gnome Hollows on turn 1, and then turn 2 played Annual Fair, and then paid 2 mana, and I had a Philosopher's Stone on turn 1. And then on turn 2 played Annual Fair, and so then I spent 2 mana to add 2 Earth to make to bring me up to 3 Earth, and then I was able to play Tithe for free off the Philosopher's Stone. But I wouldn't have had 3 Earth without Annual Fair. So, and then yeah, actually the very next turn I played Merlin's Tower, and I used Annual Fair to add 2 air, and then Merlin's Tower, and then cast some spell. I don't remember what I cast, but Annual Fair is just really, really good. Very, very strong card. You need to play this card. Very good. Also, I wanted to point out we are playing Fields of Camlin. It does require 3 fire threshold, and we only have 10. But we do have Annual Fair to help with that, and we do have Ruby Core. So, and it's a free effect. You know, it's definitely come in handy for me. It may not look like you might be able to get this off as often, but you'd be surprised. And it has a powerful effect. Each player chooses one of their minions, kill the rest. You can't beat that for free. You cannot beat that. So I keep bouncing around a bit, but it's just a crazy deck. It's got a lot of interaction here. So 4 Waters of Paradise. 4 Waters of Paradise, I like it here. I wouldn't say that it's absolutely necessary. I like it in the deck because the deck plays with Arcane Mirage, and you're going to play that at some point in the game, and you're going to be able to pull it back from your cemetery too. Being able to just create a Gatling gun and just mow down anything in front of you and possibly hit the opponent's avatar in the process. 4 Waters will reduce the cost by 4, so it's 4 extra damage. That's pretty cool. I like that. I want to keep it in for now just for that. But if I need it for Poison Over at Earthquake and my opponent played a turn 3 Maddening Bells, that's important too. So 4 Waters, very good. 13 Treasures of Britain. This is one that I just recently added. There are draw mechanisms in the game, like Grandmaster Wizard, and even Raise Dead, potentially hitting like your opponent's draw minions, or Blink, Common Sense, Pendragon Legacy, to kind of like all of these things will kind of like churn through your deck a little bit, and then you can like banish and bring and recast spells. But I'm not comfortable. Like there needs to be more card draw in here, but I don't really have room for a lot. So 13 Treasures of Britain could be really cool because it's when picked up, bear's controller draws a card, teleport the treasures to the top of a random side or void. You're playing with Cthulhu Mechanism, and you do want to get Cthulhu Mechanism. So if you can get Cthulhu Mechanism out and play 13 Treasures of Britain, then you're going to be drawing a card every turn, an extra card every turn off the Treasures of Britain. So that's really cool. I love that. You may even, when picked up, bear's controller draws a card. You can potentially even draw 2 extra cards per turn if you have a Grandmaster Wizard out or a Highland Princess, because you're controlling the random effects. So you just like keep it where it's at, and then you maybe have another minion out and you're just drawing with both your Avatar and Highland Princess, picking up and dropping the artifact. So very cool. I love that. I haven't had a chance to test this too much, but I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be fun. So we'll see if that makes the cut in the end. Now, Crave Golem here, I started with 3, and I usually play with 3 in all my other decks, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's necessary here, because we have a lot of ways to churn through the deck. Candlemas Monks is the main minion that we want to get to, and we are playing with 2 brows in which we can recast from the cemetery. I'm not sure if Crave Golem needs to be 3. The other day I drew like all 3 back to back and no monks. It was just really bad. I really did not like that. Like, you can't win when you're just drawing Crave Golems the whole time. He can eat up a bunch of little minions that your opponent's playing, but I'm trying to, and then just trying to control the board to get to Crave Golems and monks. Highland Princess we talked about already. Candlemas Monks, Grandmaster Wizards, no brainer. Arcane Barrage, Browse, Divine Healing. You know, you can recast it from the cemetery, so as much healing as possible I think is good to survive, so that you can make it to the late game. I'm only playing with 2 here because we're in 3 colors, and it might not be easy to get 3 earth early on. Pendragon Legacy, just for cycling, just for playing it to draw a card. Tithe, Blinks, and Common Sense to churn through the deck, to give you options to fill up your cemetery with magic. Disenchant, at least a single Disenchant. If any deck that plays Common Sense needs to play Disenchant or Dispel. Enchantress is going to be good, and we'll talk about that later. Firebolts, a single Firebolts, single magic missiles. You can play with, either or 2 of each, or maybe you don't play with Firebolts because the deck's not heavy on fire. I just like I like mixing it up, so that's why I have 1 of each in here. Lightning Bolt is important because you do want to have a way to just like hit your opponent wherever they are. And if you're already playing with Cthulhu Mechanism, the Lightning Bolt will guarantee that you'll hit them for that final death blow. So that's why that's there. A couple of for things like Pudge Butcher, Pudge Butcher is just a nightmare for any avatar that's trying to play control or trying to sit back on their back row. Feast of Crows we talked about. Rescue. So this is the new all-star out of Arthurian Legends that helps the deck out. You can play with 4 of these if you want, but we're not playing with a lot of minions in this version, so Rescue is just going to clog up your hand if you do. You could switch to a minion-heavy version of the deck and then change your avatar and not play with Archimago. You could play with Seer. I think Seer's the best option. People have been, trying Elementalist, so they can play Dame Britomart. I prefer the Archimago version because Rescue is magic and we can recast it. During my testing with this, once the combo starts, being able to recast Common Sense to get Rescue, or just recast Rescue and then bring back Candlemas Monks, it just keeps it going. It's easy to get 5, 6, 7 turns, no problem. So, and then you can recast Raise Dead as well. That's a lot. So you don't really need to go infinite with the extra turns when you have Archimago, and Archimago helps you survive better than the other avatars. So Chaos Twister, here's a single Chaos Twister in here just so that we can pick things up anywhere and throw them down. I'd love to play the new auras, the Famine and the I forget the other one. The red. So there's Famine, the Great Famine, is the red one. Yeah, at the end of turn, strongest minion occupying effective size dies. If tied, choose one, dispel if none die. This is really cool because it hits minions underground too, or underwater. There's the famine, and then the other one is called plague something. The black plague, of course. These are amazing auras, really good for Enchantress. But we're Artemega, so we want spells, or magic spells. So that's why I'm choosing, like, we already have to play 2 auras here to take out Bower of Bliss. I tried Crater Eyes, it's just too top heavy. It's too late in the game. You have to discard a site. So Castles of Blaze is just going to be a better option. But yeah, so Castos or Infiltrate. There's the Raised Deads, Earthquakes, Poison Nova is very important for board clear. Being able to recast those from the cemetery is just awesome. Going through the sites here real quick. Annual Fair, we talked about. Beacon, so basically we're playing like one of each tower. The Dark Tower, Gothic Tower, and Lone Tower. And then I don't really want to double up on the towers as I hate whipping on them because you can only have one out. So I play with a single beacon. Beacon can go crazy, you know. If your opponent has minions split up on different sites, beacon will get you even more mana. So I think it's worth playing. It almost always gives you an extra mana like a tower. So a single beacon, great for that situation where your opponent has a lot of minions out. Boneyard, that brings back Candlemas Monks. If you get it in early game, it's not great. But in the late game, yeah, it's amazing. You can bring back Grandmaster Wizard too. So, Fields of Camlin we talked about. Glastonbury Tor. These are our 3 colors. We are playing another 3-color site. It's just to add our 2 primary colors, Earth and Air. We have our 3 windmills here. I want to make sure I'm hitting my threshold on time. So that's why there's another one in here. And we have Color Out of Space too for that. Coming back up here to Gnome Hollows. If you're playing against Death Speaker, they're going to want to drop a Nimbus Gen on you. You want to get inside of a Gnome Hollows if you can. With 30 sites in the Atlas, it's definitely much harder to get to Gnome Hollows. You could try to squeeze a Crossroads into the deck, but I think it would just interfere with Threshold too much. So I'm risking without it. Gothic Tower. There are the towers. Hunter's Lodge. I have a single Hunter's Lodge in here. This could be Bedrock, just to help against Sinkhole Roots. I'm testing Hunter Lodge because it's new, Hunter's Lodge, and there is more stealth now because of Arthurian Legends. If my opponent plays Morgana, I really want to be able to kill Morgana before they get all the spells out of Morgana's hand, before they cast all those spells. So that's why Hunter's Lodge is here. Questing Beast is a thing. He's really annoying. There's just no way. Well, we do have Earthquake and Poison Novas in here now, which before I didn't. So Hunter's Lodge, it's definitely helpful. I think if Roots is still strong in the meta, then this should probably be a Bedrock. Merlin's Tower is really good in helping you. Anything that helps you ramp to get out of Maddening Bells or with the Witch, tax. The Maddening Bells tax, the Witch tax is going to be good. So Merlin's Tower is really good, especially when you combine Merlin's Tower with Arcane Barrage. Shoot X projectiles in the same direction one at a time, each deals 1 damage. It's pretty good. Mirror Realm. Obviously, there are a lot of powerful sites here, so Mirror Realm is just an auto-include in my opinion. Pillar of Zyros. So this might feel like a weird thing to put in the deck, because like we don't want to be banishing our Candlemas Monks, right? Or even our Grandmaster Wizard. But sometimes you just don't have Cathedral Mechanism, or your opponent like dispelled it or buried it or something like that. That's why it's better to like wait for as long as you can before you play Cathedral Mechanism. Don't play it early. But Pillar of Zyros will help clear the cemeteries so that you can raise dead something that you do want without having to control that random effect. And the life gain is going to be crucial against certain matchups. Here we have our ruins. We have all of the 2-color sites that we can run, the steps. So we have the 3 steps, 3 ruins, 3 windmills, smokestacks. Very, very important again because of Bower of Bliss. That is the #1 reason why this site is in here. it can help also against, you know, roots and sinkhole, and we have earthquake to be able to maneuver it into place. But Bower of Bliss completely shuts us down, so Smokestacks is just absolutely necessary. It's another reason why fire is good for this deck. Yeah, and a couple Valley of Delights to help with Threshold. If you don't remember, choose one. This site provides that permanently of any threshold when you play it. And that is the most hated deck. Taking extra turns, making your opponent sit there and do nothing. Ugh. So if you want to fight against this deck, you'll definitely want Feast for Crows. Feast for Crows is going to be good. You definitely want to watch out for Cathedral Mechanism. You want to take out their Cathedral Mechanism. If you have Cathedral Mechanism, you can play it last, but if they wait until it's time to combo and then they play it, yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. Feast for Crows is definitely your #1 bet. I play with Hydra Sprites in my Folklore deck, the Druid deck. Hydra Sprites are really good too. Playing Lookout Tower, or not Lookout Tower. Is it called Lookout Tower? Just Lookout. But it is a tower. Playing Lookout, you know, so that you can see your opponent's hand, it's pretty useful. You know, it'll tell you if your opponent's playing this combo, Candlemas Monks, and then you can Feast for Crows and name it. So other than that, I mean, there's not really like much you can do about this combo specifically that I can think of. I mean, obviously you just outrun it, out aggro it. Playing Pillar of Zyros against Archimago is good no matter what. So, and like I said, playing that Tump site, the Wormelo Tump, can help too. So it's a cool site. I like to try to include it when I can, but I haven't been able to in my decks so far. So, all right. So that's the most hated. Moving on to something I think most of you are familiar with already. So this is my Enchantress control deck that I have updated with Arthurian Legends. So it's gotten pretty strong. I am very impressed with my record so far, which is undefeated with this deck and testing. I thought that Enchantress was going to be bad this time, you know, and after Arthurian Legends comes out, but it's not. And the reason being, I think primarily is because of the sites. Because we get, oh my goodness, Babbling Brook. Until your next turn, minions are disabled while atop nearby sites. And Troll Bridge. So 6 defensive sites when we had none before in Enchantress. That's awesome. Because we're not playing Earth, we can't play with Gnome Hollows, and Free City is not something I want to play in a 3-color deck that's not playing Earth. I'm sorry, I don't want to try to squeeze Gnome Hollows in, and I definitely don't want to try to squeeze in Free City when I'm really trying to hit my threshold on time. So yeah, these Babbling Brook and Troll Bridge, very, very good. Troll Bridge says the first time a lone enemy enters here each turn, strike it unless they discard a card. Now when it says here, it means both below or above, because a site occupies both above and below at the same time. So a submerged minion trying to come through here, like Serpelius or Porcupine Pepperfish, something like that, would also trigger the effect. So it has been confirmed that lone enemy simply means that the enemy unit that's entering cannot be entering at the same time as another enemy unit. So you can have a minion here, like an animated aura, and it would still trigger when an enemy entered here alone. So yeah, Troll Bridge and Babbling Brook. We also have Fields of Camlin. I mean, Fields of Camlin and Enchantress is just like, it's so good. Not having to pay anything to kill all your opponent's minions, like, it's too good probably. But the other things that we got from Arthurian Legends, Black Plague and the Great Famine, we talked about these. They're amazing. They hit the subsurface too. I don't know if you noticed that. At the end of your turn, the weakest minion occupying affected sides dies, or the strongest minion. These are amazing. Yeah, when you play it, it'll kill a minion, and your opponent probably won't play into it the next turn. But you can play a Princess Wizard or Highland Princess and just put them under Black Plague or Great Famine to soak up another, or to prolong their existence one more turn in the realm. That's really cool. You can animate them and then silence them to keep them around. You can animate them and then blink them onto one of your opponent's minions. We are still playing with 4 blinks. So yeah, the deck is great. We get Morgana Le Fay, Spellcaster Stealth, and you get 3 cards. There are a lot of strong things, but this is probably the most important thing for our weak matchups is the Ring of Morgan. And then bringing back Highland Princess to get the Ring of Morgan. Now with Highland Princess, Ring of Morgan, and 2 Angel's Eggs, we have 4 points of access for healing. In the past, Battle Mage and Avatar Vare were tough for us because we weren't always guaranteed to get the healing on time because it was 2 Angel's Eggs out of 40 cards. Now we have 4 access points for healing out of 50 cards, which is a much, much higher chance of getting healing. And I can tell you, Ring of Morgan is just busted, in the deck at allowing Enchantress to survive longer. So it's been really fun to play this. It's really, I feel comfortable now, partly because of like Black Plague and Great Famine, but also because of the healing. Before, when I would play Enchantress, I would always feel like nervous, like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to handle this minion that comes out, or a Root Spider under a bedrock. I have to get Silence to deal with a Root Spider that I can't, get to otherwise, or Death Dealer. Now we have Black Plague and Great Famine to deal with Root Spider. That's awesome. So yeah, just some really strong includes. Anything else from... I threw into Magic Missiles to diversify. Arcane Barrage. I have a single Arcane Barrage in here, because imagine playing Abundance, getting all that extra mana, and then playing Arcane Barrage. That sounds pretty good to me. I like that. We're just doing 1 for now because really it's more of a situational play, but who knows if it's like amazing in the early game too. It's just the triple air is the hard part here. We do have where is it? 4 Waters of Paradise. This is really good in the deck. We have a lot of top end spells, and Arcane Barrage is here too. So 4 Waters of Paradise, very, very good. The rest of it you'll recognize. Normal stuff: Silence, Thunderstorms, Wildfires, Abundance, Atlantean Fate. I do have a single Mix Ignis in here. Before we had 2 Mix Ignis, but with 4 Waters, I'm just going to play one Mix Ignis here. Yeah, and there's a single Infiltrate in here. The Infiltrate's actually not as important anymore because we have Great Famine and Black Plague. I used to try to use the Infiltrate from a River of Flame to take control of a Root Spider. So I'd say that if out of all of the cards that are here in the deck right now, Infiltrate is one that's a little bit like, maybe I'll switch it out for something else. It's just really good though. I like being able to grab a Pudge Butcher. Imagine grabbing a Morgana Le Fay, like when she still has spells left. That would be very interesting. That'd be cool actually. I haven't even thought about that. There's no way to take away stealth from her though in this deck. But yeah, pretty cool. Maybe in a Fire Earth deck, playing Infiltrate, you want like Hunter's Lodge, so you can like take away Morgana Le Fay's stealth and then take control of her and cast your opponent's spells. That'd be pretty sick. I like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We do have sites from Arthurian Legends. Joyous Guard is like my favorite site now. Just as beautiful. It reminds me of Dark Souls, if you play Dark Souls at all, if you're a Souls fan. Joyous Guard's in here. The Valley of Delights, Trollbridge, and then, the normal stuff. A couple of remote deserts. I like the deserts in Enchantress because you can ping something and then finish it off with something that's 4 power and then finish it off with magic missiles. it's been an all-star for me. I know some people don't like running the deserts because they just want other things, and it only provides one fire threshold. But I love them. They've come in handy so often that I would not give them up for anything. But yeah, that's there's a beacon there. The annual fairs again, all-star sites, really good. That's why I play 2. I don't think 3 is probably too much. 2 I think is right on the money. Moving on to something else that's pretty fun. That is the talk of the town, the talk of the Discord. This fairy, not my specific deck, but just in general, Druid. So Druid is just like, whoa. Druid is so good. He is so strong. Because of his flip side, mainly. But even Tawny is really cool. So Druid says, tap the player, draw a site. If you played a site and you don't control Tawny, summon her there. Tawny is just a one power bird that can't block, but it has spellcaster and it has airborne. And then you can tap to summon Bruin here, which is just a 4 power beast. But then the cool thing about Bruin is he soaks up damage for you nearby. He's like a royal body. You get a free royal bodyguard. Like, what? He's so good. And then when it flips, whenever an enemy enters a nearby site, it takes 1 damage. That doesn't sound amazing by itself, but when you combine it with Drums of Doom, damage dealt to minions nearby is lethal. So now every single time one of your opponent tries to play one of their minions next to you, or tries to move it in next to you, you immediately deal 1 lethal damage to it because so you immediately deal 1 lethal damage to it because whenever an enemy enters a nearby site, it takes 1 damage. And then Drums of Doom makes that damage lethal. So really amazing. Druid is just awesome. And so you don't have to play Druid with this deck. Like, this deck would work without Druid. I like it because I kind of want to stall. Like, I want to stall in the game. I want to get off my combo with Sylvan Splendor. I want to be drawing a ton of cards and then get Horn or Ruler of Thule, or just attack in with a ton of little 2-power guys, you know. So this is, if you don't already know, Sylvan Splendor, whenever you cast a beast or fairy to an affected site, draw a spell. Dispel if an affected site is successfully attacked. So you got to be careful where you put this. I usually like to play off to the side and then play it only when I have minions that can protect it up. Unfortunately, Tawny can't block. So it's usually coming out on it comes out on turn 4 if I have Hamlet, and Hamlet lets you play ordinary minions for 1 less. So if I have Hamlet, I'll put it on turn 4 and then I'll drop like some little 1-power guys. Or if I still have these guys out from earlier turns, then I'll play it out. But you really want to be careful. You don't want to lose it. You want to be able to use it like right away. Philosopher's Stone is also really good. You know, if you play Sylvan Splendor, and then you can use Philosopher's Stone to play out like Snow Leopard and Grain Sparrow for free. That's pretty cool. And you get your card draw. So yeah, that's the idea. You don't have to have Hamlet. I only play 3 because I want to make sure and hit my thresholds. I've been in a game where I didn't have double water before, even though I'm playing with floodplains, and I have a decent amount of water. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I mean, it's not great. And then you have 12, 13 technically in Valley of Delight. But I really want to keep Power of Bliss in here. That's one reason why I'm not playing a whole lot of Mortals. I think we just have Highland Princess and Ruler of Thule. Those are our only Mortals. Highland Princess I took out and then I brought back in because Ring of Morgan is just, it's too good. You have to play with Highland Princess to get Ring of Morgan. It's too good. Ruler of Thule is amazing, this deck. You drop, like, even if you turn 1, get Tawny and drop a 2 power guy, and then, you know, you turn 2, drop another couple of little 1 drops or whatever, and you get up to, you know, Ruler of Thule, and you're just smacking your opponent for 10 to 15 damage when you play him because you have all these guys out. that only cost 1 mana or were free in the case of Tawny. Yeah, Ruler of Thule is just an auto include in my opinion. So if we can get a little bit organized here and not like jump all around like I keep doing, let's go through the artifacts. We have Philosopher's Stone, Ring of Morgan. We talked about, super good, especially when you're playing a ton of 1-drops. Back to back to back to back. Horn of Caerleon. This is really good. I have won games off of this. I let somebody play my deck today. They at the store. They won off of Horn. When you're playing against control can be really tough. When you're trying to, especially when you're playing a bunch of little minions like Swamp Buffalo, Snow Leopard, and all that. Control can be tough. You know, they're gonna be killing your minions as soon as you play them every time. So Horn of Caerleon is very important. Being able to give them a charge. It will single-handedly win you the game against control players. So Grain Sparrow, I keep changing quantities on this minion. It's life gain. Life gain is very good, and you just want some sustainability until you can combo. You know, just fill the board up with a bunch of minions, or get Druid flipped with Drums of Doom. So yeah, I'm playing with 3 right now. It's been going pretty well. Added a couple of Porcupine Pufferfish for more targets for assorted animals. And also the Pufferfish has a couple of uses, a couple of other synergies. But one primary synergy is with Salmon of Knowledge. Because Salmon of Knowledge says other units at this site may fish, tap roll a d20 on a 14+, banish Salmon of Knowledge, and draw 3 spells. You can cast Pufferfish underwater protected and sit there and fish all day with the Pufferfish. I say fish all day because I don't know what it is about Salmon of Knowledge, but it always takes me like 5 tries before I get it. It shouldn't take 5 tries, but it does every time. I mean, I guess like 14+. No, 5 tries would be like if it said, 17+. But I'm always having to roll like 5 times to get it to go off. I usually use Tawny. But a lot of times, like the way the game will go is I'll start off with a 1-drop. On turn 1, I'll get Tawny and say a Swamp Buffalo. And then turn 2, I'll get another minion like Snow Leopard, maybe even 2 minions. And then turn 3, I'll drop Salmon, and I'll put them all in my back row. And I'll drop Salmon on turn 3, and I'll have 3 minions to 4 minions ready to tap and roll for Salmon of Knowledge, and then get the draw immediately. So Salmon of Knowledge is a fairly new addition, but it's been amazing. It's been really good. Yes, you can whip on it a few times, but you have so many little minions, and Tawny comes back every time you play a site that it's been very helpful. I wanted more card draw. There were a couple of games where I felt like, oh man, I just need more card draw. I didn't get Sylvan Splendor. I didn't get Drums of Doom on time. I didn't get Narcotic Manuscript on time. So Narcotic Manuscript is really, really good in the deck because you're dropping a ton of little 1-drop minions. We even have here Sir Tom Thumb, who can return to hand. And so the Manuscript, it will just churn through your deck. Especially if you kind of do the same thing. It's kind of the same thing. It's the same kind of like plan every game, where you play a few of these little guys along with spawning Tawny, and then hopefully get the Manuscript or a Salmon of Knowledge, and then use them all to draw a bunch of spells. Or maybe you don't get those. Maybe you just have them out to block for Sylvan Splendor. What you don't want to do is hold them back. Maybe mid to late game, like when you think, oh, you might draw Sylvan Splendor, you haven't drawn it. Then you want to hold 1 or 2 back, but not at the expense of your life. You need to keep your life up. You want to make sure that you don't die before you get enough minions out to be aggressive. So yeah, usually in the early game, you dump all your little guys. You want to be concerned with your opponent killing them all at once with something like Firebolts or a Snowball, Minor Explosion. So sometimes it's better to like play a water site specifically a water site, off to the side next to your avatar on the back row, and then pile up your minions there. So that if you do top deck your Salmon of Knowledge, throw it under that site, and then boom, tap all your minions to draw. Like I said, you're not really interested in being aggressive early unless it's a control. If they're playing control, then yes, you do want to be aggressive as much as you can. But for the most part, you just want to try and draw a bunch of cards to get to Sylvan Splendor, and then draw a bunch more cards, and then maybe you give them all charge, maybe you have Ruler. Even if you don't, you got all these cards, you're going to flip Druid, and now all of you're flipping Druids, and then you start moving Druid forward, and your opponent can't play minions into your territory if you get the Drums of Doom, because they all die, and then that's how you win. So really, really fun deck. I'm sure you've noticed already, I am not playing with, oh, what is her name? Oh my goodness, I forgot her name. The minion that returns minions when they die. Wow. I cannot think of her name right now. Assault. Lady Assault. So, I'm not playing with her because I tried playing with her, and she was just lackluster. Almost every time I played her, it was just useless. Like maybe I got like 1 or 2 minions back in hand, but I'm trying to win. Like if you want to have fun and just combo with her, and or maybe you're in a 4-player match, and you want to combo with her, then that's fine. But I've noticed that in my games, I don't need her. When I have Sylvan Splendor, when she would be good, I'm good. You know, like all I need is Sylvan Splendor. I don't need her too. Like I'm already drawing so much. I have assorted animals. I just don't need her. She gets in the way. She's amoral, and Bower of Bliss will turn her off, and we want Bower of Bliss because it just shuts off Death Speaker and Knight's decks, and it shuts off the Candlemas Monks combo. So she's lackluster for me. That's why I don't play her. But she's a fun card, and she does have her combos that she can enable. Because if you have Hamlet out and all your 1-drop guys cost 1 less and they're free, and you have Ring of Morgan, and then you have Lady Assault, or Isolt, I don't know how to pronounce her name. If another minion another nearby allied minion would die, return it to hand. Then you can play a minion like if you have your 1-power guys, like these guys, you can play one. So it's already out, and then you play the second one. You use the ring to damage the first one to kill it, and she allows you, Lady Assault returns it to your hand. And now you play that one back out, use the ring to kill the other one, return it to hand, and then you just cycle those 2 minions over and over and over. And with Green Sparrow, you can get infinite life that way. Again, you're playing them on Hamlet, which makes them cost 1 less. And then, of course, if you have Sylvan Splendor on the Hamlet, you'll be drawing cards every time you do that as well. So, like I said, I mean, you need to have the ring to do that. If I already have the ring and Sylvan Splendor, honestly, if I just have the ring, I'm already good. Like I'm doing pretty good if I have the ring. I'm playing so many spells, I'm gonna be drawing so much. The ring by itself is great. So Lady Assault on top of the ring, it's kind of just icing on the cake. Okay, I don't talk too much about that. Hider Sprites. I felt like I was the only one that was hyped about this card. Like everyone was just kind of like just dismissing it. But this card in both this deck and the most hated Archimage, or not the most hated. Oh, actually I did try it there and it was really good, but I just needed spells. That's why I ended up taking it out. Needed more magic in the cemetery. But Hider Sprites in this deck has just been amazing. Being able to dump my hand, all the minions, and then play like a lookout. I know what's in my opponent's hand. I know what they're playing. Being able to name Snowball, Poison Nova, Earthquake, Death Dealer, Playing against Archimago, I can see their cemetery, so I can just name a card in their cemetery. It's game winning. That's all I can say. And you can search them up with common sense. Hider Sprites is just an auto include to me. And that's why I play air, earth, water instead of fire. Hider Sprites. And then you also get Sir Tom Thumb. And then you also get to play with Feast for Crows as well. So air is, I think, important in this deck. And you have to have earth because you need assorted animals. It's too good not to play. And you have to have water, of course, for Sylvan Splendor. So I think these are the three main colors for the Druid deck. We also, if you notice, we have a sneaky little snowball down here. Snowball is really cool in the deck because you're already dumping out all these little minions. Snowball can just go whoop, pile them all up, and just slap your opponent in the face for big damage while taking out their minions in the process. This is another reason why you kind of want to like create like just a lane in front of you and then build out sideways, you know, on your back row. But you do also want to just keep your grid around you for your Druid, because the Druid will deal 1 damage to nearby sites. You want to play your sites nearby. Usually I start on the back row. I'll play forward if my opponent's being very aggressive or if they have fire. I'm playing with Briar Patch. Briar Patch is really good to play forward because then when they enter, they'll take a damage, and when they leave, they'll take a damage. Enemy units. So I like playing that one forward, but usually I do like to play sideways and then kind of like in the corner, like the corner grid. Same thing, you know, when I play Enchantress, I like to create like a 2x2 in the corner a lot of times. The only time you don't want to do that is if your opponent's playing Violence, things like that. Now we have to worry about Squirrel. So yeah, this is a risky red Squirrel. Genesis, take target nearby artifact can be carried and hide it beneath the site. That would be annoying if we had Ring of Morrigan or Horn or Drums. Like, so yeah, we really don't want our opponent to come close to us. But yeah, that takes, you know, it's all about testing, you know, figuring out what Arthurian Legends brings to the table and what you have to watch out for. But yeah, Whiteheart is really cool in the deck. It prevents other minions and locations nearby from being attacked. So again, just more sustainability while also potentially drawing you a card on Sylvan Splendor. I've taken this out and brought it back in. I brought it back in because it's just worth it. I want my minions to survive. I don't want to be attacked. And if you don't draw Drums of Doom, and your opponent can just flood your side of the board with minions, it's nice to get a Whiteheart, you know. And yes, your opponent can attack Whiteheart, but you can block with your minions. You can throw minions away, or you can force them to attack in ways that are detrimental to their plan or whatever they're, you know, trying to do whenever they're attacking with multiple minions. So far it's been good. I've liked it, but I would say, yeah, out of all the minions, this would be one that you could potentially switch out. So I brought this in. I took Lady Assault out and brought in Whiteheart. So it's been more useful than Lady Assault. So I definitely like it over her. The Lugbog Cat is in here because you can play Lugbog Cat to any water side in the realm. A lot of people don't understand that or don't realize that. And I do want to have like a couple of beefy minions in the deck so that I can trade profitably with my opponent's beefy minions. So I like the cat in here. I originally had Autumn Unicorn in here as well. I took them out just for more 1-drops because I just want gas. When I get Sylvan Splendor, I want gas, man. And I want to have these out so I can use early, so I can use them for Salmon or for Narcotic Manuscript. This deck is really fun to play with. It's really cool. So yeah, Common Sense, Disenchant, Lightning Bolt, Magic Missiles, Polymorph. I like playing with the Polymorph. You know, if your opponent has some big honking thing like Great Old One or something, Polymorph is nice. Drown and Bury, because we have water sites. We also have floodplains, so Your opponent might have an artifact on water, or maybe they have a Pudge Witcher on water. I just think you need both, especially if you're playing Common Sense. Like Common Sense, I'd really like to have 3 of. Like I might even end up taking Whiteheart out just for a 3rd Common Sense. But I've been testing him, and he's been good so far. We'll see how far that goes though. Feast for Crows. It's very important. It's really good. Like I said, we're already playing Hider Sprites. We're already playing Lookouts, so that we can look at our opponent's hand. Feast for Crows has just been amazing. And I think we already talked about that, getting Poison Nova out of hand and all that. A couple of annual fairs. Aqueducts, Bower of Bliss, extremely important. Briar Patch because of the Drums of Doom. If you haven't flipped your Druid yet and you just play Drums of Doom, you have Briar Patch. That's kind of annoying for your opponent. Maybe you don't have Drums of Doom and you flip your Druid. It's dealing 1 damage, and then Briar Patch is dealing another damage. Really cool interaction there. Lighthouse, Hamlet, Lookout. Yeah, Tadpole Pool is cool because you get the 3 frogs, and the 3 frogs can go fish with Salmon of Knowledge. So if you play Tadpole Pool and your frogs are out there, you have 3 frogs underwater, and then the next turn you play Salmon of Knowledge there, you can fish with all 3 of them right away. Because the salmon just cares that there is a minion at the site. So it can be an underwater frog fishing underwater. So that's fun. Tadpole Pool, Color Out Space, Tinted Gel, Valley of Delight, Windmill. Alright, so let's hurry up and get through this next deck here. Again, these are all decks that I've been testing. They've all been doing well in some form or another. Enchantress is definitely by far the most consistent, and I mean it's a beta deck. It's been fine. A lot of mostly beta, enhanced with AL, but it's been amazing. Folklore's been good. Most Hated's been good. First Blood's been good. This is probably the weakest. It's easier to disrupt. The reason being, what I want to focus on with this deck is these 3 attack, 2 toughness knights. There's a lot of exceptional knights, purple knights, the verdant knights, the yellow knights, even violence. A lot of our guys, Sir Aggravate, a lot of our guys only have 2 toughness, so they get killed by violent really easily, or firebolts really easily. They're just really this deck is really easy to disrupt. And if you don't get Round Table or Horn, which Horn I only like playing with 1 of, because when you get 2 and they're 4 mana, this is annoying. They clog up your hand, so I only play with 1 now. There's the ring again. Every deck gets the ring. But yeah, this oh, I just noticed I don't have Highland Princess in here. I might try to squeeze that in. I added Violent here because I needed more ways to kind of clear the way, so that I can attack with my knights. Even though a lot of them will come in with a lance and first strike, I want more removal without having to play more removal. Originally I started with just a ton of knights, and that just didn't work. There wasn't enough utility spells like Grapple Shot, Common Sense even to get the Grapple Shot, Dispel, Blink. I threw a Blink in here. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, I think you still need the shell, this Earth Air shell of spells, which you could kind of do whatever you want. I think Grapple Shot's really good though, especially when you're playing with stuff like Sir Balin. I've Grapple Shot a lot with Sir Balin into an avatar, destroying their sight. It could be good against Druid. Druid's playing with artifacts that you really want to get rid of. So yeah, there are some knights I didn't put in here because I didn't think they were as useful, but you can kind of swap out knights as you please. Black Knight was a more recent addition. I like him because this deck is trying to be aggressive, and if you can get a turn 2, 3 power knight with a lance out, most likely you're going to be hitting first and drawing first blood, hence the name of the deck. So Black Knight is going to cost 2 less because you'll have more life than your opponent. So that's why he's here. Otherwise, I really don't want minions that cost more than 4 mana, even though all these guys their cost is reduced because of my Avatar Templar. I just don't want... I did play, I started out with like 5 and 6 mana knights, and it was just too slow. You know, they gum up your hand early, and you really need to be aggro with this deck. So yeah, that's about it. All of these sites are pretty self-explanatory. Notice I'll have Castles Ablaze here. Again, this is because Bower of Bliss shuts down this deck completely. Almost every single minion I have is mortal, and Bower of Bliss, they thought it was a good idea to print that card. It just completely turns off the deck. Like I think the last time I played the deck, my opponent played Bower of Bliss, and I just scooped because it was just like pointless to play the deck. So that's one of the main reasons why the Knights deck will never be like a top tier deck, just because of Bower of Bliss. It just shuts it off. Like unless we have more, like this is only elite. So, and this is like the only, like we have smokestacks in here too to help, but unfortunately, I don't know. Maybe, you know, we can work on it more. Maybe somebody will brew up a Knights deck that doesn't care about Power of Bliss, but everything's immortal. So that's a shame there, but still a fun deck to play. I do like the Knights deck because you never know what you're going to draw, especially if you're building a version that has a lot more Knights and less streamlined than this. You never know which Knight you're going to draw, and it's just fun, like getting that random. It's kind of like playing Commander, you know, like you never know what you're going to draw off the top. You know, it's just one of every spell in the deck. So I have a lot of exceptionals in here, not as many of the unique Knights, but like I said, you could play it any way you want. And when I had more Knights in, it was definitely a whole lot of fun. Just like, oh man, what's the next Knight I'm gonna draw? So yeah, this one has been doing well as long as my opponent doesn't play Bower of Bliss. It's been doing well, and it's good. It holds its own. All of these decks have, and I'll leave the links for all these decks in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description below, so you guys can check them out. So First Blood, Folklore, Enchantress Control, and then the most hated. This I'm so afraid of this deck scaring more players off, but that about does it. The video went a little long. But you know, just chatting about standard, or not standard, constructed. I don't know what the best deck is going to be, because we need a whole lot of brewing to happen. There are a lot of avatars that I've not even seen touched much. We need to see what's going to happen with Avatar of Air. What is Death Speaker going to bring to the table now? Avatar of Earth is still a force to be reckoned with. I was playing against Golden Eagle, and he was playing Avatar of Earth, and he put in the horse that can carry an ally, 2 power with charge. Forget the name of the horse, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Play the horse, carry Avatar of Earth forward, and then attack with Avatar of Earth. I like that. I thought that was fun. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of testing, a lot of brewing, a lot of different options. What are you going to brew? Let me know in the comments below. See ya!